Okay, for this video, what we're going to do is we're going to go through our 7-step checklist. Now, this is what you will do for every single product that you look at. So we'll start with the first one. So you will need to download this from the resources link, and this is going to be our check permissions. Now, Amazon restricts new sellers on a lot of items. Most new sellers can't sell many things. But even after you're an established seller like we are, there's a lot of big name brands who still would not like for you to sell on their product. So these will remain restricted also. So this is the reason why we check this first, because if we can't sell it, we just move on. So that's the first thing you'll check. So in this case, you would just simply move on immediately. Okay, so let's look at the second product. So we can sell this product, and the second thing you'll want to look at is the bestseller rank. Now, if this number right here in beauty and personal care, we will simply just move on, and we won't look at 150,000, then we'll simply just move on and we won't look at this any further. Now, what this means is how well it sells on Amazon. Anything around 150 or below, 150,000 or below, will be a good product to list in our store. Now, the lower it is, the more likely we are to buy more of these items, but we'll pretty much buy anything under 150,000 that meets all of the rest of the criteria. So the lower the better for this right here. So the next thing you want to check, and the reason why I'm showing you this one, is you want to check your quality. So this item right here, does it match the item on your supplier site? Now, if you receive this item in a tactical arbitrage search, because this is two totally different items, most likely it will be incorrect. But what you can do is search on your supplier site for both the conditioner right here and the shampoo, add those two prices together, and then enter that as the buy price to see if we're still profitable. So on this one, you would also want to check the ounces. In some vendor sites, it's going to be milliliters. If you're not familiar with either of those, you can simply just Google. Sometimes it'll only show 400 milliliters, for instance, and you would have to convert that on Google to 13 ounces. Okay, next thing you would check is, say you would check the scent for sure. We already checked the size, we checked the quantity. If a model number was something that you would need to check for like electronics or something like that, you would definitely want to check that also. Any of these quality issues that could come up. Now, certain times it won't show 2 count up here, or it won't show the ounces. So you can scroll down, you can look right here for 2 count or ounces right here. If you still can't find the size of the product like I did, like I showed you on the picture, check the picture. And then also, each item should have a description. So this one is a very fleshed out description. The manufacturer has done this themselves, created a very extensive description, but most items won't look like that. Most items will look similar to this one right here, where they just have a small description right here. They have the number of ounces or 3-pack and all of that right here. So sometimes you still won't be able to find this size every once in a while. And you can look right here in the Q&A section. And sometimes a buyer has asked the same question, what size is this product? And that might be right here. If you still can't find the size, then just move on from here. Now we have identifiers that each product is matched up with. So this right here is called the ASIN right here, and then you can also find it down at the bottom of the page, down near the description typically, right here. And this is the unique identifier that Amazon has for this product. Now the UPC is similar, but the UPC is going to be the same whether it's a 1-pack, a 2-pack, a 3-pack, but this ASIN will change every time the number of items changes, the scent, the style, the size, any of that. So every single item will have its own unique thing right here. Okay. So after you've checked the quality, you're going to want to check the profitability, and we'll talk about that in the BuyBot Pro video, but you'll have a checklist to go through in order to see if it's profitable. So this right here is a big brand for the US, but we will still check right here. As you can see, these are the new sellers in the item, and you want to click on it, every single item, to see if the brand is a seller. So right here, as you can see, none of these sellers are Old Spice. So you don't have to worry about, that's less likely that you will receive the IP claim that we talked about, and that's one way we prevent that from happening is by checking that. So if we're still good on the product and we've checked to see if the brand's a seller, so let's say this item from the supplier costs $7. So we put that in there, and then right here you can also see the names of the sellers. If you don't want to click in right here, that'll be a little bit faster. And also you want to make sure Amazon's not a seller on it. And then the next thing you will check is what we call the price stability. So we want to make sure that this price is pretty consistent with the previous prices in all of the history of the item. So as you can see right here, this price is very consistent. There's not much movement up or down. So if we have an item where the price was like $14 right here for a long time, and then just shot up recently to 15 or 16 or 17, then we're going to be concerned that pretty soon in the near future that this might go down again. So we would not purchase that product for that reason. And a lot of times you'll see a lot more movement than that. Let's look at this one. So this one's consistent because as you can see, this yellow, all of this yellow that you see, the highlighted region, means that Amazon is a seller, and they typically keep their price pretty stable. So this is an example of one where we have a very inconsistent price. We probably wouldn't purchase this product because we have a history of it being very low. You see a large drop not too long in the past, and it still looks to be dropping right here. We have a slight raise, but it's still very inconsistent. We have a huge spike right here. So this product, unless we could be very profitable at the lowest amount, let's say we typed in this $6.99, which it's close to that right now, and we were still profitable, we probably wouldn't even consider the product if we weren't going to be perfectly good even at its lowest price in this consistency. Now the last thing you will check, which is still important, is going to be your ratings. We typically won't buy a product below 3.5 stars. The only reason why is we want to know that we're not going to get a lot of returns for it. And another tip I have is the more ratings you have, even if it doesn't have a BSR, for whatever reason, we have a higher likelihood of it selling faster. So we can click back over here at this one. It's about the same. It's actually exactly the same, but the ratings are much higher. And then this last product, we have a lot of ratings, but we also have Amazon on the listing. Unless Amazon's price is very high and there's a buy box that is not Amazon, which let's talk about the buy box. So the buy box on Amazon is going to be this seller right here. So whichever seller holds this, let's say real estate, holds this spot on Amazon, that's what you would call the buy box. That's the person that if a buyer came to Amazon and they immediately clicked add to cart instead of clicking into the other sellers, that's the person in the buy box, is the person that whenever the buyer comes onto the product, whenever they add it to cart, that's whose item they add to the cart, is that specific seller's. Now, whenever Amazon holds the buy box or has stock in a product, they typically do not like to share this spot. So it's harder to get sales on a product like this. So that's why we avoid items that Amazon is a seller, because no matter that this is a very low BSR, it has a lot of reviews, it checks out all of our other criteria, it doesn't mean that once we have stock in this item that it's actually going to sell. Now this one right here looks good because of all of the price consistency. The number of sellers is very low. The ratings are good. This is good. So we also have health and household. It's similar to the beauty and personal care. Both of those, anything under 150,000, we're going to have you put in the potential buy sheet for us to check out. So that's the checklist you're going to have. It's 7 things, and once you get used to it, you will get faster in it and you will easily go through those 7 things. But at first, take your time and check through the quality, check all of the criteria that we have, and even if you want to keep the checklist right in front of you while you work your first couple shifts so that you can view that as you go and make sure that you're checking every single item for all of the different criteria that we have to meet.